Transportation. Okay. In transportation, what I'm showing here, and this is from the Department of Transport in the UK, showing how vehicles on the road, how their relative consumption has gone down over the years, and what is expected to happen over the next 25 years or so. So this is what is referred to as a baseline vehicle, so a regular internal combustion engine. What we expect roughly is that by 2020, if you have a car that's currently 180 horsepower, and if in 20 years' time you buy a car which is also 180 horsepower, about the same weight and amenities, you'll be get more mileage out of that. Okay? Just no parameters. So you have to stick to the same roughly equivalent. If we go to hybrid internal combustion engines, okay, we're already achieving, in urban cycles at least, gains of the order of 1/3 on the base, getting 20% on it. Okay? So when we go to about 2010, and what we're going to do is reduce the size of the engine by reducing the weight of the overall vehicle so that the engine doesn't have to work as hard. And one of the best ways of doing that is to switch to aluminum or aluminum. Initially, this is not really going to have, again, if you think about the cradle to grave type of analysis, and you look at this in detail, this switch over here, although it's going to entail a fairly significant drop in energy consumption, higher efficiency, over a period of a few years, the impact on greenhouse emissions is in fact inverted. Why is that? Because we're switching currently, a very large percentage of the auto parts are recycled. Okay? When we switch to aluminum body parts, there aren't any body parts to recycle. So you have to basically account for the extra greenhouse gas emissions associated with the fabrication of that aluminum. Once you have a fleet that has aluminum bodies, then you start gaining. So this is just a period. You have to look at that over a period of time. Okay? But in the longer term, you can gain significantly. And this, the hypothetical hydrogen fuel cell hybrid vehicle, we could achieve potentially their reduction of 60 to 65% in terms of emissions. Okay? If you go backwards with this curve, much the same has been going on for the last 30 years. Okay? But we're no better off. Why? This tells part of the story. Okay? This is a plot of the fuel economy, okay, versus a baseline in 1975. So basically, if your fuel economy goes up, that's basically what's happening. You're doing much better than you were initially. Okay? And however, one of the things that's happening is that the size has grown tremendously of the engines that we're using. There was a period after the so-called oil crisis where, in particular in North America, every car manufacturer started making much, much smaller engines. And then, short-term memory, 6-7 years later, people started going back to larger and larger cars. And this is what happens. So in fact, if you look at the economies that have been achieved, the gains in economy have been more than offset, they've been negated by the behavior of drivers, consumers. And this comes from the fact that we've switched to larger cars. Why have we switched to larger cars? This is again from the UK Department of Transport, and what it shows you is from 1986 or so, a curve looking at the relative GDP. So the gross domestic product, and generally speaking, the prosperity of people and what they have in the bank and disposable income has more than, it's increased by about 60% in a period of 18 years or so. Okay? The cost of motoring or driving has in fact remained pretty stable because we're able to make cars cheaper. The relative cost of oil and gasoline has dropped if you take into account cost, basically adjustments and inflation, and therefore people have been able to afford bigger cars, which they've done so in abundance. They've been also making up for the added economy by adding amenities into the cars. Okay, so we have almost every car, whereas it was pretty rare to have air conditioning in the 60s, almost every car has air conditioning. You have very sophisticated sound systems with 8 speakers, heated seats, power windows. You're going to have VCRs, cappuccino machines. It goes on and on. That's what people refer to as the hotel load, and that has more than negated. So anything we're making from the viewpoint of efficiency, technology, better fuels, etc., are being totally wiped out and in fact negatively used to increase greenhouse gas emissions. This is a serious issue. This tells you that technology cannot solve this. It's people. Okay? What do we do about it? I'm not sure.